Hello everyone, my name is Mary Margaret and this is my first BookTube video. Realistically though, it's actually not my first. I actually filmed the BookTube tag, or the BookTube Newbie Tag, last year, and then I chickened out and I deleted my video and I just left the opportunity because I don't know, I was worried what people would think, but I know a lot can change in a year and I've gotten to the point where I just don't care, so I'm just gonna make a video and hopefully this is coherent and cohesive, makes sense to you guys. If you hear weird creaking noises, the chair I'm sitting on is very loud, so that's what that is. I have the BookTube Newbie Tag questions on my phone and I'm gonna just try to answer them in as brief a manner as possible. I tend to go on rabbit trails, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure you are aware of this, but the original person who was the creator of this tag was Brenda C, and I don't believe last time I could actually find her channel to link down below, but if I can manage it this time, I'll do that, and we'll go on and get started. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? And I think it's probably a similar answer to pretty much everyone else who has joined BookTube, and that is that I really want to talk to people about books, and I do know a decent amount of people who enjoy reading, but it's very much a different type of reading to what I do, and I like to think I have a wide variety of taste in terms of what I like to read, but that being said, there are very few people I know who read similar books to what I do, at least not to the same extent. And so I think this is a wonderful platform to meet some people, and I've actually met some people through BookTube without me participating in it through video. My favorite two, I have to mention, are Julia from Shakespeare and Such and Kara from Wild Book Garden. I love their channels. You guys are amazing. So they also inspire me to join as well. So 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I think we're all unique. That's probably the artist in me coming out. I think we're all unique and have unique things to offer. I think for me, most people call me their grandma because they find me to have similar taste to their grandmother, which I have over the years just found to be kind of a compliment rather than a mean comment, because it's never meant that way, but I will say that's a pretty accurate representation or comment about me, and I think my taste probably falls within that for a lot of people's definition anyway, so maybe that's unique, I don't know. Question 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I think this is sort of something which links with question 1, which was, why did I join? And I think what I'm most excited about is making friends and connecting with people about books, but I'm hoping to offer some different content as well, and this could be in the artistic way of things. I mentioned before I am an artist. I'm not a great one, but I enjoy creating paintings and drawings and things like that. And so I'm hoping to make some videos about that as well, and just creative things in general. And I also am excited about kind of joining that idea together with books, as well as music, film, all of those sorts of things, because I think that books, since they're about everything, should really touch on a lot of different things as well, and that opens the door to a lot of different conversations, and I think it could be really fascinating. So I think it's going to be kind of an intersectional approach to reading, so hopefully that is what I can manage, and I think that's going to be something fun for me to pursue with this channel. So question 4, why do I love reading? So that's a really excellent question. I think a lot of people probably would say they grew up loving to read, and I think that's true to a certain extent. I did enjoy reading growing up, but there was a period of time where I just had a lot of trouble getting through books. I had trouble reading just in general and focusing, and that's really why I focused on art and creating through that way, and kind of interacting with different worlds in my head was with art and music. And so I think the main reason I love reading though is because my older siblings really encouraged it to me. Honestly, they made it sound so fun and told me a lot of stories that sounded really awesome that I could learn or see or read if I really wanted to participate in that. So I really struggled through reading, and then I started to get better at it, and I focused on some larger books over time, and I got better. And I got to the point where I could read longer books, and I really enjoyed it. And I found a lot of different types of books that I liked. So I stopped restricting myself to a particular type. And so I think one of the main reasons that I love it, though, over time has been really because it's a form of escapism for me. I really do like that. And I've been told, I say that weirdly, apparently most people say escapism. So I said that automatically. So if I pronounced it incorrectly, I'm sorry. It's because I learned it from reading. And so I think what's a really awesome part of it too is that I really love learning, and I think you can learn so much just from reading. I think that's where I've learned most information that I know. So question 5, what book or series got you into reading? I can't think of a particular one. There were quite a few growing up. I feel like this is something I'll probably touch on in later videos. I can't really think of anything in particular here other than maybe the Narnia books by C.S. Lewis. I know growing up that those were really fun for me. I also really enjoyed the Nancy Drew books. Nancy Drew, love her. And I think aside from that, nothing is coming straight to my mind in particular. So I'm sure that's something I'll think of later and be like, oh no, why didn't I think of that? So, oh well. But later, I guess I'll answer that. 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I think it would be number 1, how do you read so much? I try to read a lot, and I've been making time really to focus on it, but I still cannot read to the same extent that you do, and I do not know how you do it. So if you have some tips, let me know. Most of the time they say, oh, I just, you have to make time, you listen to audiobooks, and I've definitely tried both things, and it has helped, but I still do not read a fraction of what you do in a year. So kudos to you, but if you have some secrets, share them please. 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think I touched on this previously when I first started the video. Being kind of self-conscious. I used to be very, very self-conscious about recording myself, especially having to listen to myself and see myself, because you notice all these little things about yourself that you probably never noticed before that are just kind of like, oh, very cringy. But I'm trying to do better about that, and also just not second guess myself and overthink it and then just quit again. I want to try to prove to myself that I can do this and not chicken out like I did before. So question 8 is, when did you start reading? I think I touched on this before as well. I started reading from, I guess, probably as early as most people do, and I was very lucky that I got taught to read at a very young age because I have so many older siblings who were very invested in education and reading, and of course I wanted to catch up with them. And so I started reading at a very young age, but like I said, I kind of faded out with that interest for a little while, and then I got back into it. So there's definitely like an ebb and flow to reading for me. So I would say that's probably the best way to put it. Question 9, where do you read? I can read almost anywhere if it's relatively quiet. The only thing that's hard for me is if people are talking around me, it can be tricky to focus. It depends on what I'm reading, how dense it is, that sort of thing. But for the most part, I can read almost anywhere. If I had a choice, I would say I read in my room, which is where I'm sitting right now. I have a reading chair in this corner over here, which you cannot see, or in my bed. I mean, that's pretty standard, although I'm getting to the point where I start falling asleep when I'm reading, which I swore I would never do, but I have to schedule when I read in bed because of that. But I also like to read outside when my allergies aren't acting up, which they are right now. I like to sit outside in the tree areas or just in the sunshine. I think that's a really nice place to be when reading. So it really just depends on what I'm reading and what my mood is and what's available and peaceful. And the last question is question 10. What kind of books do you like to read? So I like to read a lot of different things, and part of the reason I refilmed this, aside from everything that's changed since last year when I filmed this the first time, is that I feel like my reading taste has developed, and I think I have gotten to where I like a lot more different things than I even did last year. I like to read all sorts of things. I'm an art historian, and so one thing I do love is reading art history texts or anything to do with art, but I'm also really interested in just plain old history. I think that's really fascinating as well. I love classics. I really enjoy reading those, and particularly I would say British literature, as well as 20th century literature. I can't get enough of it. I love poetry so much, so I will talk about that a lot on this channel. I think a lot of people have this really strong dislike for poetry, which I believe they probably wouldn't have if they knew what they liked, because there's so many different types of poetry that you kind of have to give yourself a chance to find what you like before you say, oh, I don't like poetry. And so that's something I enjoy a lot. Philosophy is fascinating to me, so I do enjoy dabbling with that every now and then. I love a good drama, so any kind of literature like that is really fun to me. I also love any kind of self-help books and nonfiction reads where it's kind of like, for example, I'm reading this book called Daily Rituals, Women at Work. I'm looking to my left because I see it right there on my bedside table, and I'm trying to make sure I give you the right title. It's by the artist. It's by the author Mason Curry, and basically it details the day-to-day activities of creative women, and so it's interesting, so I enjoy that sort of thing. I love short stories, I love biographies, memoirs, love those so much, and every now and then I do enjoy fantasy. I will say I only dabble, again, in the fantasy world. And so I think just a little bit of everything. I will say if you are a huge YA fan, this may not be the channel for you, and that's because I don't really read YA that much anymore. I used to read it all the time, and it's part of what helped me get back into reading, but it is not something I reach for on a very regular basis, just to be completely honest. So I think there is a wide variety of types of books that you'll notice me reading on here though. So hopefully there's something for everyone here. I'm sure that I forgot something, and I'll regret that I forgot to mention it, but I'm going to go on and wrap the video up here, and I will be filming another one later, hopefully. So we shall see what happens, but thank you so much for watching. If you finished watching this video, I really appreciate it. Leave a comment below, tell me a little bit about yourself. I'd love to talk to you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.